Gonzaga lost a lot of elite talent, including Drew Timme and Julian Strawther, plus some other pieces from this year's Elite Eight team. Despite these losses, I think they've acquired a lot of elite talent in both the transfer portal and through recruiting to make themselves title contenders once again next season. Hi, this is Austin Weber with Weber Bracketology, where every day is Selection Sunday. Timme and Strawther are both huge losses, and they were both central to the team. Timme for so many years, and typically when you lose players like that are Timme was really the player that they built around. It's really hard to replace players like that right away. I mean, obviously teams like Gonzaga, they're able to get that kind of talent, but right away teams might see a downfall. However, with the way the transfer portal is, it's a lot easier to just go in and get a really good player to come in and fill that spot, and that's pretty much what Gonzaga did. While he may not be as good as Drew Timme, Graham Ike is probably a top 10 center in the country when healthy, but unfortunately, he missed all of last season for Wyoming with an injury. He's a dominant force inside, and while he may not be as tall as Timme, and he may not have the same elite offensive skill set for the college game, he's really big, he's really physical, and he can score at ease inside on the block, and he's a dominant rebounder. He was the best player on Wyoming 2 seasons ago when they did make the NCAA tournament. And had he played last year, I don't know if, based on how poorly they did, I don't know if they would have been good enough to make it. But his presence on a team like Gonzaga is going to be huge, though it'll be interesting to see how he runs in that fast-paced Gonzaga offense. Along with playing fast, shooting is a huge part of Gonzaga's offense, where they're putting up huge numbers, like 87 points a game last year. And Steele Venters from Eastern Washington, he's going to be able to fill that shooting role that Julian Strawther left behind. Venters is a tall, long wing. He's 6'7", and he shoots a career 40% from the three-point line. While he was the main guy at Eastern Washington, being not the main guy at Gonzaga, that should probably free him a little bit more to probably even get that three-point shooting percentage even higher than 40. He was a 15 points per game scorer last year at Eastern Washington, and while that number is likely to dip as he moves up in competition into the West Coast Conference and plays on a team like Gonzaga where there's going to be a lot more talent around him, I think just at the pace they play, just the way he can shoot it, and how he fits into that offense, he could probably get pretty close to that 15 points a game again. If you're going to play fast and be really efficient on offense, a true point guard is a must, and Ryan Nembhard is quite possibly the best true point guard there is in the country. Nembhard played the last 2 seasons at Creighton and was a great facilitator, and he could score the ball. He had a good three-point shot, he could get to the hoop, and he was good on defense. And he's a little bit more of a true point guard than his brother Andrew, who did play at Gonzaga. He was more of a scorer, and while Nembhard's obviously going to give Gonzaga some scoring, probably about 10 a game, I think it's going to be his true point guard passing ability, leadership ability that's going to make him or just a perfect fit in Gonzaga's offense, and kind of what they were missing last year. And I mean, their offense was still elite. They were one of the highest scoring in the country, if not the highest scoring. But with a true point guard who can also score, the offensive efficiency is going to be elite once again. And it's not like Gonzaga's not bringing anybody back. They would pair these guys with Anton Watson, who's poised probably for a huge breakout season next year, even though he was very good this year, and he's elite, one of the best defensive players in the country. And then they also have Nolan Hickman, they have Ben Gregg, who's been improving, and Malachi Smith, who has entered the draft, but I think he's likely to come back, just given that I don't really think he's going to be drafted. And so those 7 guys, that is a really good veteran core for a team. Gonzaga may not have a prized recruiting class with some 5 stars, but the players they did get, I think they're going to fit really well into the system for Gonzaga. Coming off the bench, I think Dusty Stromer is going to be a perfect complement. He's a bouncy, athletic player. He's a longer wing, and he can shoot the ball really well. And obviously that's what Gonzaga wants to do. They want people that can get to the hoop. They want people that can shoot the ball. They want athletes on the wing. And just his size will be good on the defensive end. I mean, he's only going to be a freshman. I don't expect him to get a huge role in the rotation, but he should get a good number of minutes to make him a big part of the offense. The other freshman coming in, Alex Toohey, he's a little more raw, and I don't really expect him to be a big part of the rotation. He's probably going to play sparingly, but he's the kind of player who, like Ben Gregg, who's going to take a big step this year, and really a lot of the players Gonzaga has been recruiting over the years. I think he's someone who's going to be kind of stashed away on the bench and is going to, over the next few years, work his way into the starting lineup. Well, Gonzaga probably needs to add one more transfer at least to fill out the rotation. What they have already, I mean, it's arguably the best group of transfers in the country. I mean, you got Grammy Case, possibly the best center they could get, probably the best outside of Hunter Dickinson. Ryan Nembhard's the best pure point guard that was out there, and Steele Venters is one of the best shooting, scoring players from a mid-major. And so just the group that they've put together, combining them with the players coming back and then a couple of freshmen coming in, it would be really crazy if Gonzaga didn't enter the tournament once again as a top 2 or 3 seed and a title contender. Obviously, the chemistry has to fit together with these players, and obviously players need to take steps, and people like Ike and Venters, they have to get adjusted to this higher level of play, though Graham Ike was playing in the Mountain West, which is really strong, but he did have a year off. There's those things that are going to come into play, just like every team that picks up a lot of transfers. Gonzaga has been picking up transfers quite a bit over the last few years, and they haven't had a lot of trouble with that, so I have pretty high expectations. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe. Comment down below what do you think of this Gonzaga team, and if there's any team that you want me to talk about. But so far, the transfer portal has been crazy. We got about two or three, at this point, about 2 weeks left where players can enter, and it's started to slow down, but there are still a lot of big name players on the board, and it's going to be exciting to see where they land.